63 years of independence, 63 years of promises, 63 years of patience. It's time for Governance Now. Governance Now. Let's make it work.
To borrow a phrase from my friend Professor Prabhat Patnaik, the moral universe of the media has shifted, and shifted significantly. Something very fundamental has changed. It's changed in the country and has to change in the media as well. It's changed in the country. If you're looking at the agrarian crisis, for instance, and we'll come to the media and that, just consider one thing. Consider one point about the agrarian crisis, the largest we've had in 50 years. Consider this. In the 1960s and 70s, I didn't see many activists in this audience. In the 1960s and 70s, we had mass peasant struggles. We had battles for land reform that resulted in the distribution of millions of acres of land over time. We had mass peasant struggles in the 1960s and 70s. In the 1990s and 2000s, you have mass peasant suicides. Something fundamental has changed about how India thinks. Something fundamental has shifted about how this country and how this society functions. Why did mass protests, mass struggles give way to mass suicides in the largest section of our population, where suicides are running at much higher rates, far higher rates than non-farmers or general population? Media as a key figure in the establishment and corporate world, as the ideological arm. In sum, I would say the Indian media are politically free, imprisoned by profit. Any journalism of relevance will always be judged on the basis, at some point, it will be judged on the basis of how we engage with the great processes of our time. Whether it was Gandhi, Ambedkar and Bhagat Singh and the freedom struggle that they engaged with. The journalism of an era will be judged by how it dealt with the giant processes of its time. What are the giant processes of our time? A, growing hunger. And we are now in the midst of what is the greatest sustained price rise in our history since 1973-74. Since then, this is the greatest sustained price rise. At the same time, we are witnessing a collapse of per capita daily net availability of food grain and cereals in the population. For the period 2005 to 2008, the food grain availability is 432 grams per day, which is less than it was in 1955 to 1958, according to the Government of India's Economic Survey. Something very fundamental is happening in hunger, where the media, that's one great process. The massive price rise and job losses. Job losses are the second massive process going on. Third, the greatest agrarian crisis in 50 years. Fourth, huge displacements accompanied by the rape of the environment and natural resources. Five, the fastest growing inequality in our society's history as an independent nation. And six, the greatest loot and grab sorting in our independent history. How do the fastest growing media in the planet engage with these processes? Let's take one process very quickly. Hunger. The same media that are so thrilled when the judiciary intervenes on a case of a Jessica Lal or a Ruchika Girotra. Excellent, very good. The media are very thrilled about that intervention. The same media write editorials clicking their tongues when the judiciary intervenes on the business of hunger. When it makes a statement, people immediately write editorials saying the judiciary is getting a little too interventionist. So let's discuss what is hunger. Hunger is like we experience the summer, and now in the rainy period it gets worse by the way, because there's no work to be had. Hunger, just to give you a few faces of it, is mothers in the villages at the height of the heat wave, when the government is closing down schools, begging that the schools be kept open at 49 degrees Celsius so that the child will get one decent meal in a day. They want the school to be kept open even during the a vacation, and when you go to Telangana, they surround you and say, please use your influence to recollect. Somehow they imagine that I have some, and say, hunger is school teachers telling us, even in urban periphery Mumbai, school teachers telling us, sir, the midday meal ration on Monday should be double on other days. Why? Because the child has starved at home over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday. The last decent meal that child ate was on Friday noon, and the teachers are telling me, no teacher is prepared to teach a class before 1 p.m. on Monday because the child cannot pay attention, sir, that child's stomach is killing it. So until that child has a decent meal on Monday and makes up for not having eaten on 2 days, you can't engage the attention of the child. I think that's hunger. Hunger is when 74-year-old men and 65-year-old widows show up in lines to work on the NREGS because their 200 rupee old age pensions have been devastated when tuar dal reaches 100 rupees a kilogram. Hunger is when those who grow food have no trace for food security. Hunger is the falling income of farm households, which was last estimated in terms of monthly per capita expenditure. Monthly, 503 rupees per farm household in this country, out of which 60% is spent on food, while people write editorials celebrating higher prices are good for farmers. 75% of farmers in this country are net purchasers of food grain on the market, and therefore major shifts in prices affect them very, very seriously. Hunger is massive job losses which have been on in this country for 18 years. Let's take the pre-recession period of the most industrialized state of Maharashtra. Please read its government economic survey of 2008-09. Before the recession began, in 36 months, Maharashtra lost 2 million jobs. It comes in one line. Total employment reduced from 4.3 crore to 4.1 crore. You can just overlook it. It's just 0.2. That's 2 million jobs. That means Maharashtra has been bleeding at 1,800 jobs per day. Imagine the implications of that for hunger. How do we cover the most dominant process of our time? Absolutely the most dominant process. Inequality. Any sphere you look at, inequality. Any sphere you look at, hyper-commercialization, predatory commercialization. In this setup is where paid news has to emerge. There is no choice but for paid news to emerge. Okay? Paid news is not an aberration. It's obnoxious. That's a different thing. There are many questions about paid news. Is it as old as the hills? There are the old veteran cynics who say, "Arey yaar, tu kya likhte ho? 30 saal maine dekh raha hu. 30 saal tu dekh rahe hai, tu kya kiya ho 30 saal? You've been sitting on your backside for 30 years. What have you done about it if it's 30 years old?" Paid news did not come out of a hole in the ground. Of course there's a prehistory to it. Of course there's a long process preceding it. Of course there are many things, including in this decade, MediaNet, private treaties, all these things that preceded it. But what's happening in the current phase has very clear lineage.